I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
Well, I remember a Christmas long ago where I wanted a bicycle. I wanted a Schwinn bicycle. And I saw this bike at the department store, and I was there with my dad, and it had chrome fenders, white wall tires, and it was Christmas red, and I wanted that bike so much. And so I talked to my dad about it, and he was like, well, I really don't know, Blaine. It's kind of expensive, and, my dad was a house painter, and I said, I don't know, maybe we'll ask Santa Claus if Santa Claus will bring you that bike. And sure enough, on Christmas morning, when I walked out, that bike was beside the tree. And I was so happy. And, because I had just pictured myself riding that bike to school and riding around the neighborhood. And, for a boy that was 9 or 10 years old, that bike was the most amazing thing. And I spent so much time on that bike and loved that bike. And I'm so grateful to my dad for buying me that bike, because it was my life. Anybody relate to that? Anybody have a bike about that age? And it's like, ooh, that's how you get around. That's your power. That's what gets you places. Wow, it's a great thing. So, today is the third Sunday of Advent. Advent is a 4-week journey, a spiritual journey. I like to think of it as it's a journey into consciousness, right? In Unity, we look at Advent and we look at Christmas metaphysically, right? It's about Jesus, but it's really about what Jesus represents, and that's kind of how we're different than other spiritual paths. We see this as the journey to discovering the Christ self within us, that presence that we all have. It's not about discovering something out here or giving Jesus, God bless him, all the credit. What we're acknowledging is that presence within us of God. And so this Advent journey that we're on is really about preparing ourselves metaphysically, symbolically, to embrace the truth of who we are, so that we can be that spiritual essence, that love, that power, that wisdom that we have access to. So, I want to ask you, what is the biggest gift that love has ever asked you to give? What is a way that your life, your situation, your relationships, whatever you've done in your life, what is the way that has asked for love to show up in your life? And think about that. I know for me, what I've noticed a lot, that my journey is about forgiveness. My journey is about being present. My journey is about transforming stuff within me that keeps me from being the fullest expression of love that I can be. So my journey has been a lot about getting rid of the voices in my head, or at least quieting them. I don't know if you can ever get rid of them, but sort of quieting them so I'm not hearing all these fearful thoughts all the time. And in response to that, I can be present and love. Now, I'd like to say that I'm perfect at that, right? But But this is the journey, the spiritual journey that we are on. Have you noticed? Isn't it about moving in consciousness and becoming more aware, becoming more present, becoming more loving? And a lot of this journey, for me, has been about reinterpreting some of the stuff that I learned in growing up, going to a Disciples of Christ church, kind of traditional Christianity. And sometimes when I see this verse, used to be a part of me would go, eh. But let's look at it differently today. This is from John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him would not perish, but have eternal life. Now, I see this totally different as I did before. Because that God that brought Jesus into the world isn't a God that's out there. It's that Christ essence, it's that God essence, it's that power within me that has given me the ability to recognize, for you to recognize, that Christ presence, that enlightened beingness is the truth of who you are. That's what is revealed. It's like, wow, that's what we have to be grateful for. And that's what I believe this scripture is saying. It's interesting. I'm just looking at the words only begotten Son, right? Because it's not because it's because that essence is so true and that it's in every one of us. It's not God giving his only begotten Son. Of course, God is not a he in my mind. God is the presence of love in the universe, and God opens us up to the presence of Spirit, of this knowingness, of this lovingness, if we turn our mind, our spirit, in that direction. And that's what it means to me when it says, whoever believes in him, it's whoever turns their consciousness to the truth of who we are inside, to the truth of who you are. Do you understand? Nobody? All right. I hope somebody out there watching on Facebook understands. I know it's a different concept, right? And it's kind of a mind twist. It's a spirit twist. And so I'm hoping that you can be open to looking at this through a new lens, through a new perspective. And my whole idea is to give you something to think about, maybe even something that pisses you off, right? Because I may be destroying some of the images that you have in your belief system from years and years of being on this planet. And then Jesus takes it a step further in another scripture, and where he said, truly, I tell you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do, and even greater works than these. Now he's really lifting it up, right? And as my experience of these teachings is, Jesus kind of had a split personality, right? Sometimes he's talking as Jesus the man, right? Probably known as son of Joseph, or Jesus of Nazareth is probably what they called him. But he talks as a man, and he also talks from that Christ presence, from that place within him that was so connected that he could speak at the truth. So when he's saying, whoever believes in me, he's not talking about Jesus. He's talking about that Christ presence. And he's saying, whoever believes in this Christ presence within you, you'll have access to even greater things than Jesus did. And if you think about it, and the amount of people that Jesus was exposed to in his lifetime in comparison to how many people we are exposed to in our lifetime, to be that presence, to be the presence of love that we're talking about today, to be that Christ presence, we have huge possibilities, huge opportunities. And I think Jesus is calling someone on their phone right now. So imagine if you could be the best version of yourself in the world, what would that look like? If you could experience the fullness of life, if you could experience the fullness of this God self within you, this Christ self within you, this Buddha self within you. I believe that Buddha and Jesus taught the same thing. They might have even had the same teachers. And they're talking about the same thing. They just put it in a little bit different language. And of course, a lot of the Jesus stuff has been changed and reinterpreted over the last 2,000 years. And I believe that the way Unity sees Jesus is the way that he meant to be seen. If we could say, hey man, what did you really mean? And he'd say, hey, it's the Christ within, man. It's not about me. I don't want to be on no stinking platform. Right? It's, you got that platform within yourself, man. Well, he probably wouldn't talk exactly like that, but maybe he would. So, and sometimes we look at ourselves and we go, how can I be that Christ presence? When this situation happened, I totally blew it. I got into my fear and I got angry and I did this and I did that and I said this and I said that. Ever felt that way? How can I be that Christ presence? And then there's other times when we just knock it out of the park, right? When we are totally present, we are totally in love with ourselves and with life, and we just nail it. Ever been there? When you go, whoo, baby, did I get that one right? So it's kind of interesting. This is the journey, the spiritual journey that we're on, is to kind of shave off the rough edges, right, when they come up, and realize, man, I didn't handle that the way I would have liked to have handled it, but make a note to yourself. And then when you knock it out of the park, to remember, that's what that felt like. That feeling when you're in that presence of love, and you just wacko, and it's gone. Because you said it so right, and it was so beautiful. Remember that feeling. So when we're talking about gifts today, we talked about my Father's gift to me, and we're going to talk about the gift of love that you get to give as the presence of love, as the Christ self. And we're talking about that. And first of all, I want to talk about the three wise men. Remember the three wise men? They, what were the gifts that they brought to Jesus?
Gold, Frankenstein, and myrrh.
Did you say Frankenstein? Gold, Frankenstein, and myrrh. I think that we have to create a comic book with those elements in it. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And so let's talk about what the symbolism of these gifts that these wise people are brought to Jesus at his birth. Gold, that's pretty easy. Gold is, and by the way, you get these same gifts on your spiritual journey when you acknowledge that presence of that God in yourself, that Christ in yourself. And gold represents the way that you can live your life knowing these truths. It's like you have access to prosperity. You have access to all the love in the universe. You have access to truth. And you can probably recall times when you used that truth and how you felt, wow, you felt bright and you felt lifted up and you felt powerful because you chose not to have that argument with somebody, or you chose not to put somebody down, but you chose to be in that truth. That's the gold and the prosperity, what that represents, what one of the kings was bringing to Jesus. And then there is Frankenstein, or frankincense. What is frankincense? Does anybody know? It's essential oil, and it's in those days it was incense, right? And I've often wondered, why was there so much incense in spiritual ceremonies, and when people got together? Well, it might have been because they didn't take showers very often. I don't know. But incense has come to represent the spirituality, right? Priests use it. They use it in many paths of spirituality. Use incense, and it kind of sets this sensory experience of spirituality. So frankincense represents spirituality. It represents that attitude, that knowingness, that experience of being spiritual. And so that brings us to the third thing, which is myrrh. And myrrh is really interesting. Myrrh is, to some degree, antibacterial. It's also an anti-inflammatory. And in biblical times, they used myrrh predominantly as an embalming fluid. Now, why would somebody bring embalming fluid to the birth of Jesus? Well, they brought gold, representing prosperity of ideas. They brought frankincense, that's recognizing the spiritual nature in everyone. And they brought myrrh. Myrrh, and by the way, myrrh was found in African trees. But the myrrh is the realization that life is short. Giving myrrh to someone is to remind them life is short. Life goes by really quickly. And if you want to experience the fullness of life, you need to realize that it's here today and gone tomorrow. And it's a reminder to us that we get to do the spiritual work that we are here to do, called to do, in love to do, and we need to do it when? Now. It's like, it's so important. We need to do this work now. So I ask you again, how will you give your gift of love? What will that look like for you in your life if you take anything away from what we're doing today? What will you give? What will the love be that you will give? To yourself, to your family, to your friends. What does that look like? What does that feel like? How will you give your love? In a way, it kind of makes everything simple. If you think, in general, my gift to the world is what? Love. So if I'm going to give love to the world, what should I be focusing my attention on? How can I give that love? That's the most important thing that you can do, that I can do, that we can do, is to give our love. And so if we could remember that in every moment, imagine how powerful you would live your life if you showed up in every situation and said, I'm here today. This is a difficult situation with my sibling or with work or with somebody that I have challenges with. And if I said, I'm going to be the presence of love, regardless of everything else. I'm going to be love. I'm going to share my love. I'm going to encourage their love. I'm going to be present to all the love that there is right now. Wouldn't that make life simpler? Would you think it would change the way you are in any situation? If that was if in a sense you had that written on your shirt or written on your forehead or held it on a sign, I'm here to experience love. Think about that. So, what is your true gift? So I've got 5 ways that I'll show you to help you to discover this love. And they're all kind of related. So the first thing that we can do, there's the gold and the frankincense and myrrh. So the first thing that we can do to experience, to bring love as the gift that we bring is to be the best version of yourself. And what does that mean? To me, that means being mindful, being present in whatever is happening. Again, to say, I'm going to show up with love. I'm going to be present with love. I'm going to be present to whatever is going on around me. How can you help but be the best version of yourself if you show up and are present? If you're really conscious to say, I'm going to show up right now and be present. That is the best version of yourself that you can be. And the second thing that we can do is to spend time in contemplation and meditation. Some people go, meditation, that scares me. I invite you to have a meditation practice. And along with that practice, I encourage you to spend time in contemplation, because you can't know, I think, to the fullest of the wisdom within you, who you are as love, unless you spend time in meditation thinking about it, feeling it, loving yourself, loving the world, loving your experience, and to really contemplate, what can I do? What can I do when I wake up, when I walk out the door today, to be the most loving person that I can possibly be? And just spend time thinking about it. It doesn't take that long. When we practice it, we discover it happens very quickly. And the third thing we can do is to give a gift of love that challenges you. This spiritual path that we're on, have you noticed, is all about challenging, isn't it? Challenging things, doing things that are challenging. Showing love towards that person that really gets you angry. Showing love to yourself when you find yourself so focused on what you're doing that you're not present to yourself, you're not taking care of your needs. And this is often challenging, but the biggest gifts that we have come from the biggest challenges that we face. Is that true? Very little gets really learned in our lives unless it challenges us. So look for things that challenge you and give your love around that challenge. And the next thing that we can do is to recognize that our love is the gift of love is time sensitive. And what that means to me is through different stages of our lives, we have different things that challenge us. Maybe in your 20s or 30s, giving of your beingness, your work, was your gift, right? But that may have been 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, or maybe it's happening now. But the idea is to remember that the gift of love is time sensitive. So it may be time to change your gift. I've always been a compassionate person, and that sort of comes easy for me. But now I look at, what is it that I'm called to do now? What is it that I can do now that is present for me? What's present for you right now? And again, to spend some time in contemplation and meditation, looking at what is it that you can give that pushes you a little bit, pushes you into that newness, into that new expression of the Christ that you are. You know, if we were giving a gift to the world, would we want to give yesterday's donuts? Right? You'd want to give what's fresh today. So this is about looking at what is fresh today. What is new today? What is powerful today? And the last thing that we can do, and it's similar, but it is to give your gift of love that will require you to expand and to open up, to reach further, to reach deeper, to reach wider. How can you expand your love in a way that's new and fresh and works for you right now, that challenges you? How can you reach out, being the person that you are, living this short life that you have? How can you reach out in a way to touch people, to love people, to be present to people that is allowing you to expand? You know, this spiritual journey is about expansion, isn't it? Haven't you changed since you found this path of spiritual truth? And to really stay sharp, we need to constantly be looking at how can we expand into the moreness, into more love, into more spiritual power, into more truth. Focus on that truth with deep gratitude and devotion. I give my gift of love and unity. How can you create more unity in your life? So I'd like to close with this poem by Michelle Morris. All lovers say, ours is the greatest love ever. All parents say, our love is the greatest for a child ever. All creatures feel, this love is the greatest miracle ever. And they would all be right. For to love and to be loved is the greatest gift of all. And all love is in the heart and the soul of the giver. All love transcends all hearts and all souls. All love moves around this world and the universe and makes us whole. Love and be loved. That is the greatest miracle. It's the greatest gift. And you are that gift. Today, I open my heart and share my love with the world. Let's say that together. Today, I open my heart and share my love with the world.
Time to prepare for meditation. And we're going to sing Love Finds Its Way. The tune will be familiar to you because we did a version of it last week. It goes like this. Love finds its way within, like a long-lost friend, finds its way from all around me. Love finds its way within, like a long-lost friend, finds its way from all around me. And as I reach into all I am, finds its way within, like a long lost friend finds its way from all around me. Love finds its way within, like a long lost friend finds its way from all around me. And as I reach into all I am, I am. I step into the truth of who I am. I am. I am. I am.
And take a deep breath, breathing in, breathing out. And let's take a journey to our hearts, to that seat of love that's within us. Breathing in and breathing out. Connecting with the essence of spirit, of truth, of light. The essence of life at the center of your beingness. And what is the gift of love that wants to be expressed as you? Perhaps you can think of a time or a person, a way that love is gently pulling you forward. In a way that spiritually connects you with life, with your truth, in a way that connects you with all life. Breathing in and breathing out and relaxing into this moment. Now let's take just a moment or two to join together in this silence, to be with this gift of love within us. as you are aware of your breath, breathing, loving, I invite you to begin to bring your awareness back to this moment. To be aware of the light and the love in this room. And then to gently open your eyes whenever you're ready. Wow. And I invite you at this time to prepare your donations to Unity on Maui and your spiritual gifts and I often like to say your investment in this spiritual center that supports you and loves you and hopefully inspires you to live your best version of yourself. And every Sunday, that's what we talk about is what can we do, how can we be to call forth this essence of truth, of light and love and power that's within us so that we can bring that into the world. I believe that's what we're here to be the birth, in a sense, of this Christ presence that Jesus modeled for us. So, and for those of you watching on Facebook, thank you for your gifts as well. And you can send them to Unity on Maui at 483 South High Street in Wailuku. Or you can go to our website and donate in a very safe way there. So thank you in advance for your gifts. So as you hold your gift, as we hold our gifts, let's affirm and pray together our affirmation of prosperity, which begins, through a grateful, giving heart, my mind and life overflow with the abundance of God's all-providing, infinite supply. And so it is. Namaste. All right, so loving Spirit, we give thanks for these gifts that have come to us in love. We hold them, we bless them. We give thanks for them, knowing that they are moving through this ministry out into the world. And we behold a world filled with love, with light, with peace, and with joy. And so it is. Thank you. Mike reminded me of what he said. I like what you said last week about the wise men, in that they brought gold, common sense and fur. All right, so let's see. There's a sign-up sheet that I have right here that I'm going to pass to the back for flowers on Sunday. we're taken care of next week and Christmas Eve, but there is an opportunity for someone to offer flowers on January 1st on New Year's Eve Day. We'll be celebrating right here on that Sunday morning. And we'll be doing a bowl burning of some sort that morning. So I invite you to do that, and the sign-up sheet will be back there in a minute. I'll hand it off. In fact, I'll hand it off right now. Also has the Walk Your Talks, which I'll explain more about in just a minute. So if someone would take this from me, thank you very much. And if you sign up to bring flowers, you'll get to note how you'd like me to mention those flowers and what they are in memory of. It's somebody's birthday or anniversary, or just you want to appreciate life. So that opportunity is there for you. Also, I don't know why that slide is there. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. It's funny when you go the wrong way. It feels funny, doesn't it? It's like, oh, I've been through that one before. So as you know, we have a Maui Food Bank bucket in the back, and we are participating in that program to offer food for those in need throughout the island through the Maui Food Bank. And you can bring food and leave it here. We'll have the bucket here until at least through Christmas. And Course in Miracles class has been doing great. However, they're taking the holidays off, and they'll be back on January 9th. That happens at 1 o'clock right here in our sanctuary. And if you're looking for something fun to do on a Thursday and you need a little spiritual rejuvenation, come to our meditation. It's from 12 until 12:30. We read the daily word and then spend 30 minutes in the silence. Great way to get connected. Mike? I think I can.
What was the time and day?
Oh, it'll start again January 9th. They're taking the holidays off. It's a Course in Miracles class, and it's from 4 to 5:30. Oh, did I? You never know. I never know what I'm going to say. That's why I write everything down, to try and keep to a script. All right. Thanks, Mike. Meditation, Thursdays, 30 minutes, 12 to 12:30. Next week, my talk is titled Live in Joy. It's the 4th week of Advent. And so we'll look at how can we embrace more joy in our life. Anybody like more joy in your life? Joy would like more joy in their life. Okay, come up and do that right now. And I think I have a slide in. Oh, maybe I didn't put a slide in for that. All right, come on up.
Can you hear me?
You need to use the mic.
Today, up at Seabury Hall, several of our Unity members, Bonnie Newman, Ariel, Jason, I believe, Al, and Virgie Cantorna, are all singing in a Christmas concert. The Maui Choral Arts group is singing up there. It's at 3 o'clock today. Tickets are still available either online or at the door.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Joy. You've got joy wherever you go. And as you know, we're doing Christmas Eve service right here on Saturday, December 24th. 2 services at 4 and 6 p.m. We are working on, it's going to be a marvelous service. And we're going to start sharply at 4 and at 6. So feel free to come. You don't have to sign up. You can just show up. And if need be, we'll have a shuttle ready to take people back and forth to the county building if necessary. And if it makes you feel more comfortable, wear a mask. It's not mandatory, but we invite you all to take care of yourself. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then this is my Walk Your Talk, which is kind of a summary of everything I talked about today. I showed it momentarily. It's a yellow page. It's on the back table back there. And if you want to remember what we talked about today, take a copy. It'll help to jog your memory. Or if you want, call me and I'll read it for you. Call me and I'll read it to you. if you forget to take it home. No, don't call me. Who would like to receive those phone calls? Emily would, okay. All right, I think we've about covered it today, so why don't we stand? And I'd like to invite a few people to come up and join me on the platform here holding hands so our folks in TV land can see us. And we're going to say the prayer for protection, and then we'll join hands and sing the peace song. So, let's take a deep breath. Get your 15 minutes of fame. And let's say together the prayer for protection. Together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is.
Where I live, there are rain.